Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Helios and today I'm going to be responding to Bernie Sanders' video, Democracy is at Stake, posted 12 days ago. I listened to some of it already. I think maybe got 6 minutes into the 9-minute video before I was like, nah, I got plenty to say. So before I get started, I am by no means a political professional. I've never run for office before. But I have been voting since I was legally able to vote. I will continue to vote. I don't care how useless people say voting is. People literally died for me to have the right to vote as a Black person, so I'm going to vote. So if you're anti-voting, you can just get the fuck out of here because your opinion isn't valid as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to break this down. Already having my issues with the Democrats to the point where I was like, nah, this video ain't it. So this video is going to be a long one. So if your attention span has not been destroyed by short format content, welcome. If you need a more digestible short version, I might work on that later. But for right now, this video is probably going to be like 12 minutes. So strap in, get your popcorn and your drink ready, because here we go. Also, this is by no means a professional production. I'm going to have the audio in the background because copyright's weird nowadays. So I'm going to have the audio to the video in the background, which this should be like public content because it's coming from a public figure, but I don't fucking know. So, yeah.
Hello, and thanks very much for joining me. In case you haven't heard, there's an election coming up this November, and it's the most important election in the modern history of our country.
I swear they say that every year. Every year is the next most important election in our country. And it's like, for who at this point? I've been homeless for like over a decade now. I've been homeless technically since my early 20s, but like based on where you are, the laws of homelessness are different. So like in some places I've been homeless since my early 20s, in some places I've been homeless since my mid 20s. And I'm in my mid 30s now. And every year is the most important election, and yet nothing has been done about homelessness. It's not that big a deal. American politics is like a bad joke. No one is laughing.
Now, I fully understand that while President Biden has some very significant accomplishments, which he has every right to be proud of, there are a number of areas where the administration's response to important issues has been inadequate or, in the case of Gaza, dead wrong. In my view, and the view of most progressives, the United States should not be giving another nickel to Netanyahu and his right-wing extremist government to continue their horrific war against the people of Gaza.
Also, Ukraine. There's literally no reason for us to still be sending money to Ukraine. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And Ukraine, and probably several other countries that we don't have any business in.
We also need to do a lot more work in addressing the massive level of income and wealth inequality, low wages, the housing crisis, our dysfunctional healthcare system, totally inadequate childcare, student debt, and the absolute need for affordable higher education, among many other issues.
And when is that going to happen? Like, how long have you already been saying that? I mean, not you as in Bernie Sanders, but every politician. How long has every politician, especially the Democrats, been saying this? Like, if you wanted to, you would. Like, this is what we mean when we say the Democrats just hold shit hostage and then say, vote for me again and I'll get it. And it's just the vicious cycle of, if you vote for the Republicans, you definitely won't get it. So vote for us at the possibility of getting it, and then we still don't get it. And like, shit has even been overturned. Like, Roe v. Wade was the bullet for the Democrats. And of course, also the Republicans. But it's like the Democrats really run off of, if you don't vote for us, the Republicans will definitely not do it or definitely take it away. But if you vote for us, we might do it. Or vote for us again. It's like the chain of like, vote for us and we'll get it, and they still don't do it. We'll talk about it, but we still won't do it.
But while we may have our disagreements with Biden, it's important to take a minute to think about what a Trump presidency would mean to our country and, in fact, the world.
Shit might happen to white people. The things that have already been happening to black and brown people just might happen to white people. I'm no longer interested in protecting white people from the shit that I've already been going through.
If you believe in democracy, and I know you all do, if you believe in science, if you believe in justice and workers' rights, let me be very clear. The next several months will be the most important in modern American history. Yes, Donald Trump is a pathological liar. He's a racist, sexist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, and a religious bigot. Yup, Donald Trump has denied the election defeat that he experienced and is undermining American democracy every day, peddling conspiracy theories and converting the Republican Party into a cult of the individual. Yep. Donald Trump has contempt for a free media and has encouraged violence and the never before seen use of the military and federal agents against U.S. citizens. But if you believe
Never before seen? This video was made for white people.
Donald Trump's first term was dangerous, I want you to think for a moment about what a second term would look like.
Like, I mean, don't ever think that things can't get worse, right? Things can definitely get better. It's just like the Democrats aren't doing anything to make anything better. The whole thing is just Trump bad. Keep us in power. Like, for what? You're not doing anything. You had plenty of time to codify Roe v. Wade. You had plenty of time to like stop book bans. You just didn't do shit. Like, we're not voting for like, wait, let me. People who've decided to vote third party aren't voting third party because you did everything right. We're voting third party because you didn't do shit. And like a lot of Republicans or people who've identified as Republican up to this point, they're also voting third party. They're voting RFK. I'm voting Jasmine Sherman because Jasmine is running off of a platform of getting everyone's basic needs met. Food, housing, etc. Like, voting for Joe Biden and voting for Trump, I'm still going to be homeless. If I vote for Jasmine Sherman and Jasmine wins, I'm not going to be homeless anymore. And I don't have to care about Genocide Joe or xenophobic, racist, sexist Trump.
If Donald Trump is elected this November, the fight against climate change is over. Period. It's the end, and the people of this planet will have lost.
Tell me more.
Not only does Donald Trump believe climate change is a hoax,
Okay.
but he has and will once again appoint agency leaders and judges who will undermine our ability to move toward energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And if the United States retreats from the fight against climate change, countries like China, India, and the rest of the world will follow.
Absolutely not. Just because America is, America. Just because the United States is an idiot doesn't mean China, India, and other countries will also become idiots. The rest of the world is perfectly okay with leaving what was once an international economic superpower in the fucking dust. Don't you believe this propaganda for a second that the rest of the world gives a fuck about what we're doing. especially China, who has gone on record to say they are sitting back laughing at us, watching our government destroy its citizens. No.
That would have irreversible implications for the future habitability of our planet, for our kids, our grandchildren, and for future generations. If Trump is elected in November, the already obscene levels that we are now experiencing of income and wealth inequality will only get worse.
And what have the Democrats done? At least Trump gave us 150. I'm sorry, 1,500. Joe Biden put it on taxes so not everybody could get it, because taxes are hard to file in the United States. We have to pay other agencies to file our own fucking taxes in the United States. We're the only like modern day country that does that shit. Like, we should have UBI by now, trying to tell me that Trump is going to make things worse when everybody has made shit worse up to this point for people who are already poor. Nah, missing me with that propaganda.
In his first administration, Trump signed tax cuts into law where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%, while at the same time he raised taxes for middle-class families. During this current campaign, Trump has promised to extend those tax cuts for the rich and to lower the corporate tax rate for companies that are making record-breaking profits.
And
if Donald Trump is elected again in November, we can expect him and the Republican Party to escalate the attacks on women's reproductive health in this country. No, it was not enough for Trump to brag about appointing justices who overturned Roe v. Wade in this country. He and many other Republicans want to go further.
And Democrats had how long to codify Roe v. Wade? So that wouldn't have happened? This is what I'm talking about. The Democrats just hold shit hostage but don't actually do anything while making the Republicans look bad. But they're not going to do shit. They don't have incentive to do shit as long as they can continue to make the Republicans look worse. And like, I agree, the Republicans are worse. The Republicans are the ones actively taking away our rights, while the Democrats are like, we're not actually going to do anything to stop them, but we're going to tell you that we are going to do something to stop them if you vote for us again. That's all the Democrats have now. They don't actually have incentive to do shit, because now the Republicans get to be the villains. And they get to be the heroes as long as they keep the Republicans at bay, but don't actually do shit. Like, you're not getting... Anybody with more than 2 brain cells is not fooled by this. If you know the history of American politics, at least recent history, at least the Roe v. Wade part, you know that Democrats had plenty of opportunities when they had a majority to codify that shit, along with many other things that we're having issues with now. I'm too smart to be a Republican or a Democrat at this point in my life. And so are plenty of people younger than me and quite a few people older than me.
They want a federal abortion ban, and that's what they will strive for if he is elected this November.
Okay.
If Donald Trump is elected again, it is likely, and I say this with a heavy heart, but it is likely that the almost 250-year experiment of American democracy is all but over.
And
it goes without saying that Trump tried to overturn the results of the last presidential election, but his attack on democracy goes far deeper than the violence of January 6, 2021. Trump wins, you can expect more extreme gerrymandering, more election workers being harassed and threatened, more young people and people of color being denied their right to participate in elections.
So those are things that happen on a local level. The president, like, and I'm saying this very theoretically, I guess, but the president doesn't really have time to do shit like that. Those things happen on a local level. And like, I mean, obviously there's some federal in there, but like, I don't like the gerrymandering and the election tampering amongst like poor people who are usually younger people, black and brown people, students, people who are more progressive, liberal, left, whatever you want to identify that end of the spectrum of being. Though, like, that's already been happening, and we've at least been like socially conscious of that since like what, the 80s. I mean, like I said earlier, things can always get worse around here. Like we may well end up like Russia, but like, I mean, yeah, theoretically, right? But it's like those things are already happen. Those things happen, like, and they focus on doing that on more of a local level, so they can get those city councils and mayors and governors and sheriffs and stuff like that. And like, people vote differently. Uh, like, since everybody who runs for office runs with a different platform, and if you vote based on platform instead of voting based on party, which is the smart thing to do, you might vote with different values for your mayor than you would for your president. So it's like, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, it's already happening. But like, and it's already really bad. Like, I don't know, when he starts talking about demographics that he's not in, like young and black and brown, it's like that shit's already happening. I mean, when you say that, it's like now you're trying to give the white liberals marching orders to give more reasons to try to bully people like me into voting Democrat when we've already decided that we're not voting Democrat. Now you're just like giving them they're like, if you don't do what I tell you to do or what I want you to do, this is going to happen to you. It's already happening. It's just more white liberalism.
It does not end there. If Donald Trump is elected, he will once again attempt to overturn the Affordable Care Act and throw some 32 million Americans off of the health care that they currently have.
What about the Affordable Connectivity Program? Under Joe Biden right now, 25 million Americans are about to lose their phone and internet. What about what the Democrats should already be fucking doing while you're trying to hang something else over our head? I hate them. I can say this with confidence. I hate the Democrats now. I hate the Democrats and the Republicans now.
If Trump is elected, he will take gigantic leaps backward on issues of education, gun control, criminal justice reform, and immigration.
So, I don't know about criminal justice reform. Immigration, yeah. Gun control already seems to be an issue that's handled state by state. I don't know what the president can do about that. The president can definitely have influence with words, but the United States is a country that gives a lot of power to municipalities and state by state governance. So I don't know about that.
And if Trump is elected again, it would strengthen the hands of authoritarian leaders all over the world Leaders like Orban in Hungary, Putin in Russia, and many other countries, such as Saudi Arabia, the Philippines, and elsewhere, all over the world, demagogues and authoritarian leaders would rejoice if Trump gets elected.
They already do. That's already a thing that we have. We've ripped the veil off of that a long time ago. It does not matter if it's Trump, Joe, or whomever else. If it's anybody other than a third party candidate that runs their platform off of the shit that they care about, if it is either Republican or Democrat, nothing changes on that front. That's already a thing that's happening.
So, my friends, that is what is at stake.
Nope.
This November.
Absolutely not.
The question is, what do we do about it?
Vote third party.
In my view, it goes without saying that we have got to do everything we can to defeat Donald Trump and to re-elect Joe Biden.
Fuck no.
No excuses.
Nope.
But we also have another very important task in front of us.
What's that?
We must do everything possible to re-elect our progressive friends back to Congress against the enormous opposition and millions of dollars of special interest money that is being thrown against them.
No, what we actually need to do is get rid of Citizens United. That's what we actually need to do. And we need to remove their ability to vote for raises for themselves while they continue to let the American citizens be stagnated in wages. That's what we actually need to do. So, no.
We must also do our best to elect new progressive leaders at the local, state, and federal levels.
Now, I agree with that. There are a lot of people who don't vote for president and Congress and shit that will always vote for local, state. They'll always vote for city council, mayor, sheriff, stuff like that, because that is the stuff that affects them directly. If you never vote for president, then whatever. Please vote for governor, mayor, etc. Because that is the shit that directly affects you every day. The president is more our foreign affairs. Your governor and your mayor, that's you. So yes, I agree with that.
We must also work together, all of us throughout this country, to push President Biden to enact a progressive agenda for his second term.
If he didn't do it the first time, what makes you think he'll do it the second time? 4 years. 4 years is not a lot of time and a lot of time at the same time, depending on what you're trying to do. Why should I give Joe Biden 4 more years of my time? I was homeless under Joe Biden. I was homeless under Donald Trump. I was homeless under Obama. Why should I give a fuck? This video obviously isn't for people like me.
An agenda that makes clear that he is fighting for working families and is prepared to take on the money and the power of Wall Street and the corporate world.
He could have been done that shit. Don't vote for him. He's not going to do it.
So, my friends, this is a monumental moment. And one thing that we cannot do is bury our heads in the sand.
I agree with that.
Complacency is not an option.
Obviously it is.
Stand up, we've got to fight back, and we've got to make sure that the world and the country that we leave our kids and future generations is something that we are proud of.
Too late for that.
Thank you all very, very much. I look forward to working with you in the months ahead.
So that was a very dignified and respectable presentation, something we haven't seen in a very long time. This is how politicians acted up until, I'd say the Bush administration, which is great. Good to see some decorum back in the house somewhere. But fuck no. That video was made for white people who are afraid of ending up like me. White people who are afraid of experiencing anything near what their ancestors did to us. That's who that video was for. That video was not for people working 3 jobs. That video was not for people who are homeless. That video was not for people who've already been experiencing problems under white supremacy and the patriarchy and the devastating amounts of capitalism being piled on top of more fucking capitalism. You're not protecting anyone from what's already here. And this video is 25 minutes already. If you'd like to go watch Bernie Sanders spout that white propaganda for yourself, yeah. But yeah, I'm not falling for it. I'm gonna say vote Jasmine Sherman, but by all means, vote for whatever candidate best suits your values. But this 2-party system has got to be over with. If we really want to save democracy, we got to exit this 2-party system. And that's all I got to say about that.